in this episode of American Greed. Every day around the world, millions of people board an airplane. They sit down, fasten their seatbelts, trusting that the plane is entirely safe. That's what 24-year-old Samya Stumo from Western Massachusetts does in March 2019. Samya is a nonprofit worker preparing to depart Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, for a meeting in Nairobi, Kenya. At 8:30 in the morning, she texts her mother to say she is on Ethiopian Airlines Flight 302, a new 737 MAX jet manufactured by Boeing. A minute after takeoff, the captain reports a flight control problem. And then suddenly, the jet angles down and begins to dive, accelerating faster and faster, heading straight towards the ground. 6 minutes into the flight, Samya Stumo's plane disappears from air traffic control radar screens.
I heard it in the middle of the night. It was probably 3 in the morning, and I was in the laundry room. And every time I went in the laundry room, I just turned on the radio. They were saying that there was this plane crash. I was standing in the laundry room, and I was just shaking. And I woke up my husband, and he said, "No way. Go to sleep. That is not true. It's not happening." And I had to wake him up again. And I said, it is true.
The plane crashes into a farm field about 40 miles from the airport. 157 people are killed. For many in the United States, it's just one more plane crash on the other side of the world. But this one is different.
They all their time from the moment the plane crashed. They spend the day here, they spend their night here.
This is the second 737 MAX to go down in 5 months. And this one will trigger international outrage and accusations of lies, fraud, and greed at one of America's most respected brands, the Boeing Company. Founded in Seattle in 1916, it's the largest aerospace corporation in the world, with 140,000 employees and a market cap of $114 billion. It's a business that literally changes the course of history. Boeing's legendary bombers helped win the Second World War.
18, 17, ignition sequence start.
Its engineers helped take men to the moon and revolutionize air travel. And with each new design, Boeing becomes synonymous with trust.
It's a trust of the actual core of Boeing, and that's the engineers.
Every day, pilots like Dennis Taser put their lives in the hands of Boeing engineers.
I've seen the layers of protection, and on they go. And it's like, one more thing, Captain Taser, we put this other thing in there. And I go, well, how bad's it gonna get? We're planning for everything.
And that's why practical, meticulous engineers like Stan Sorscher love working at Boeing. He starts at the company in 1980.
We had a lot of opportunities, as engineers to make things work, solving the right problems in the right way.
But in 1997, Boeing merges with McDonnell Douglas, a company that reportedly brings to Boeing a cutthroat culture of cost-cutting.
Let me say that this is a spectacular and wonderful day for the people of the Boeing Company.
But some say it is anything but. In the years following, engineers begin to sense that their contributions are no longer valued. And before long, they face a new reality.
We really were not the center of the universe anymore.
And so, in February 2000, 17,000 engineers and technical workers do something surprising.
What's being called the biggest white-collar strike in U.S. history.
They throw down their pocket protectors and walk out. The rallying cry of the strike is, "No nerds, no birds." At the time, Stan Sorcher is a union leader.
But it was very heartfelt. This was a serious, emotional moment.
In the end, the engineers win their battle for a new contract. But the next year, Boeing executives turn their backs on frontline workers and move company headquarters to Chicago. And many argue that a new Boeing is born.
It transformed itself from an engineering company into a financial corporation.
For more than 50 years, consumer safety activist Ralph Nader challenges corporate profit-seeking. But Boeing will become a personal target.
Instead of focusing on engineering, research, and development, it focused on the stock price. It focused on stock options for the bosses.
And while Boeing denies the allegation, that focus leaves the company open to an accusation of greed, because prioritizing the price of Boeing stock can help the bosses get rich.
You tie more and more of their pay to the stock price or something related to the stock price, and their pay goes up, the money goes into their bank accounts. They're saying, really what matters is getting the stock price up.
And one way to get the stock price up is for a company to buy back its own shares. And Boeing does just that. From 2004 through 2008, Boeing spends $11 billion on buybacks. And that is just the start.
Now, stock buybacks don't create any jobs. They don't bolster pensions. They don't get put in research and development. They just increase the metrics for executive compensation for the guys at the top.
Years later, as Boeing continues to pour billions into buybacks, critics say the company is engaged in a new kind of engineering, financial engineering.
So basically, everyone was geared towards this incentive of giving money back to shareholders, having that keep the share price up, having that keep executive compensation high, without anyone really questioning what this was doing to the company.
But in 2011, Boeing gets what could be a wake-up call. "4,000 miles away from Chicago in Toulouse, France, one of Boeing's top competitors, Airbus, is busy producing the jet airline companies are desperate to buy. It's the A320neo. Airbus promotes it as the answer to the high cost of jet fuel. And with the Neo, Airbus hits Boeing where it hurts, luring one of its best customers, American Airlines.
American was a long-standing Boeing customer, big 737 user. And basically, Airbus went in and said, we've got the new engines, they don't, fuel is expensive, you need this. And American broke with Boeing and said, yep, we're ordering it.
Suddenly, Boeing needs a fast answer to Airbus. The company rules out designing a new plane and goes with a plan that saves an estimated $7 billion and years of production time.
Airbus springs their trap, and the only thing we can do from, standing flat-footed is a derivative of the 737.
The 737, that's Boeing's workhorse. A jet born in the 1960s that already has been upgraded over and over. This time, the old machine gets large, fuel-efficient engines and an impressive name, the 737 MAX. Boeing's ads, like this one, are convincing.
But what does all this mean when you're running an airline? It means for once, your decision is clear. The new 737 MAX.
Sold. The MAX becomes the fastest-selling jet in Boeing history, with 3,700 orders at its delivery date. Each jet is estimated to bring in a profit of $15 million.